everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk you an interesting story. Who is she? In a small town, there was a school. This school was big and old. Many kids went there. One day, a new girl came to the school. Her name was Amelia. Amelia was very quiet. She did not talk much. She always looked sad. George, a boy in the school, saw Amelia. George was kind. He wanted to be friends with Amelia. He went to her and said, "Hi, I'm George. What is your name?" Amelia looked at George. She smiled a little and said, "I am Amelia." And George asked, "Do you want to play with us?" Amelia shook her head. "No, thank you," she said softly. George felt sad. He wanted to help Amelia, but he did not know how. Days passed. Amelia was still quiet. One day, George saw Amelia in the library. She was reading a book. George went to her. "Hi, Amelia," he said. "What are you reading?" Amelia showed George the book. It was a story about a princess. George likes stories too. He sat next to Amelia. "I like stories," he said. "Do you want to read together?" Amelia nodded. They read the story. George noticed something strange. Every time Amelia turned a page, she whispered. George listened. He heard Amelia say, "Help me." George was scared. "Amelia, did you say something?" he asked. Amelia looked at George with big eyes. "No," she said. "I did not say anything." George was confused. He heard the whisper, but Amelia said she did not speak. George decided to find out more. George and Amelia became friends. They read together every day. George still heard the whisper. One day George asked Amelia, "Where do you live?" Amelia looked sad. "I live in the old house near the forest," she said. George knew the house. It was big and old. People said it was haunted. George was curious. He wanted to see the house. "Can I come to your house?" he asked. Amelia nodded. "Yes, you can," she said. After school, George and Amelia went to the old house. It was dark and quiet. The door creaked when they opened it. Inside, it was cold. George felt a chill. "Do you live here alone?" George asked. Amelia shook her head. "No," she said. "I live with my mom, but she is always sick." George wanted to see Amelia's mom. "Can I meet her?" he asked. Amelia looked scared. "No," she said. "She does not like visitors." George felt something was wrong. He decided to come back later. George could not stop thinking about Amelia and the old house. He told his friend Jack about it. Jack was brave. He wanted to help George. "Let's go to the house at night," Jack said. "We can find out what is going on." George was scared, but agreed. That night, they went to the old house. It was dark and quiet. They took a flashlight. They entered the house. The floor creaked under their feet. They looked around. They saw a door. It was locked. George and Jack tried to open it. Suddenly, the door opened by itself. They saw a room. It was full of old things. There was a picture of a woman. She looked like Amelia. "Who is she?" George asked. Jack looked at the picture. "I don't know," he said, "but she looks like Amelia." Suddenly they heard a noise. It was a soft whisper. "Help me," it said. George and Jack were scared. They ran out of the house. The next day, George asked Amelia about the woman in the picture. Amelia looked sad. "She is my mom," she said. George was surprised. "But she looks just like you," he said. Amelia nodded. "Yes, everyone says that." George wanted to know more. "Why does your mum not like visitors?" he asked. Amelia was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "My mum is not well. She stays in her room all the time. She does not want anyone to see her." George felt sad for Amelia. He wanted to help her. He decided to find out the secret of the old house. That night, George could not sleep. He kept thinking about Amelia and her mom. He decided to go back to the old house. He took his flashlight and went. When he reached the house, it was dark and quiet. He went inside. He went to the secret room. The door was open. He saw the picture of the woman again. Suddenly, he heard a cry. It was a soft, sad cry. George followed the sound. It led him to another room. The door was locked. George knocked on the door. "Who is there?" a voice asked. It was a woman's voice. George was scared, but he said, "I am George. I am Amelia's friend." The door opened slowly. George saw a woman. She looked like Amelia. She was crying. "Who are you?" George asked. The woman said, "I am Amelia's mum. I need your help." George was confused. "What do you need?" he asked. The woman looked sad. "I am not well," she said. "I need someone to help me." George wanted to help. "What can I do?" he asked. The woman said, "You need to find the key to the secret room. It will help me." George agreed. He decided to find the key. George told Jack about Amelia's mom. Jack wanted to help. They decided to find the key. They went to the old house again. They looked everywhere. They could not find the key. Then George remembered the picture. He looked behind it. There was a small box. He opened the box. There was a key inside. "Jack, I found it," George said. Jack was happy. "Let's go to Amelia's mom," he said. They went to the room where Amelia's mom was. They showed her the key. Amelia's mom looked happy. "Thank you," she said. "Now I can be free." George and Jack were confused. "What do you mean?" George asked. Amelia's mum said, "I have been trapped in this house for a long time. This key will set me free." George and Jack used the key to open the door. Suddenly, the room was filled with light. Amelia's mum smiled. She looked at George and Jack. "Thank you," she said. "Now I can rest in peace." Amelia's mum disappeared. George and Jack were shocked. They did not know what to say. The next day, George told Amelia what happened. Amelia looked sad but happy. "Thank you, George," she said. "You helped my mom." George was confused. "What happened to your mom?" he asked. Amelia said, "My mom died a long time ago in the old house. She needed someone to help her find peace. You and Jack helped her. Now she can rest." George was shocked. "But why didn't you tell me before?" he asked. Amelia looked down. "I was scared," she said. "I didn't want to lose my only friend." George felt sad for Amelia. He hugged her. "You won't lose me," he said. "We are friends forever." Amelia smiled. For the first time, George saw her truly happy. He knew he had helped her in a big way. A week passed. Things were starting to go back to normal. George and Amelia spent more time together. One day, George found a strange letter in his locker. It had no name on it. He opened it and read, "Dear George, thank you for helping me. I have one last request. Please take care of Amelia. She needs a friend like you. Always be there for her. With gratitude, Amelia's mom." George felt a chill. He knew it was from Amelia's mom. He showed the letter to Jack. Jack was surprised too. "Wow, George," Jack said. "This is really special. You must keep this letter safe." George nodded. He knew he had a big responsibility now. He promised himself to always be there for Amelia. As time went on, Amelia became more open. She talked more and smiled often. She even started playing with the other kids. Everyone liked Amelia. They saw how kind and smart she was. George and Jack remained her best friends. They always looked out for her. They did many things together, like reading, playing, and exploring. One day, Amelia asked George, "Do you remember the old house?" George nodded. "Yes, I do," he said. "It was a scary time, but we helped your mum." Amelia smiled. "I want to show you something," she said. They went back to the old house, but now it looked different. It was clean and bright. The darkness was gone. Amelia took George to the secret room. "Look," she said. There was a small garden inside the room. Flowers were blooming. "This is my mum's favorite place. I want to take care of it." George felt happy. "We will take care of it together," he said. George, Amelia, and Jack took care of the garden. They planted new flowers and watered them every day. The garden became a beautiful place. It was full of colors and life. One day, they found a small box buried in the garden. Inside the box, there was a note and a locket. The note said, "To my dear Amelia, this locket is for you. It will always keep us connected. I love you forever. Mom." Amelia was touched. She wore the locket every day. She felt her mom's love and presence with her. George and Jack were happy to see Amelia so joyful. The school was planning a big festival. Everyone was excited. There would be games, food, and fun activities. George, Amelia, and Jack decided to take part in the festival. They set up a small booth to sell flowers from their special garden. Many people came to see the beautiful flowers. They were amazed by the story of the old house and the garden. "These flowers are very special," Amelia told everyone. "They remind us of love and friendship." The festival was a big success. George, Amelia, and Jack were happy. They had fun and made many new friends. Years passed. George, Amelia, and Jack grew up. They remained best friends. They never forgot the old house and the special garden. It became a place of memories and love for them. Amelia did very well in school. She was smart and hard-working. She wanted to become a teacher. George and Jack supported her dreams. One day, Amelia said, "I want to help kids like me. I want to make them happy and give them hope." George and Jack were proud of her. "You will be a great teacher," George said. "You have a big heart." Amelia smiled. She knew she could do anything with friends like George and Jack by her side. Many years later, George, Amelia, and Jack decided to open a school. They wanted to help kids learn and grow. The school was built near the old house. They named it Hope School. At the entrance of the school, there was a small garden. It was filled with flowers from Amelia's special garden. It was a symbol of love, hope, and friendship. George, Amelia, and Jack were very happy. They knew they had done something good. They had created a place where kids could learn, grow, and find hope. Every day, they remembered the old house, the whispers, and the woman in the picture. They knew that they had helped Amelia's mom find peace, and in doing so, they had found their own happiness too. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and learned something new.